Brain Factory crew is back live on a Friday afternoon here. We got the full crew this weekend. We got Big T back in the house and Mr. ODB here to bring some football winners for the weekend. Obviously, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Big T, how's it going here, buddy? How's the old bets been going? The betting has been really good. I know we hit the Showdown slate pretty good yesterday, but you've been on absolute fire betting. So you got to talk about it a little bit because I know you won't fucking talk about it unless I pump you up.
It has been one of the sickest runs ever for sure for me. I don't ever remember having a hotter bets run. I've had hotter DFS runs, but I don't ever remember bets. I mean, the last 10 days, if you just played those plays in the Run Pure Discord, I haven't counted up the units, but it's got to be over 50 units no matter what. And that's going one unit at a time too. Just an absolutely, probably even more, just an absurd run. Every game that I should lose, I win too. Like last night I had Atlanta and the Mets. They both should have lost. They both won. It's like when you're on one of those eaters, just every game you even lose somehow wins. Did run bad at the end of the DFS, but the bets have been just freaking absurd lately, which is fun. And this is more of a bet show anyways than DFS. So it's a good thing.
I wasn't going to bring up what happened at the end of the DFS contest for you, but I was going to bring up that you loved Darnell Mooney. He was one of your favorite captains, and he was close to being that winner last night. He needed just a little bit more, and you would have had a big day DFS.
ODB would have been sick if he saw it. Yeah, ODB always likes sweating the stuff. ODB going to overtime last night, $250K. All I have to have happen is London and Cousins not to outscore Mooney. But Cousins couldn't have done it anyways without a touchdown. So Cousins would have had to throw a touchdown to a scrub, or Drake London would have had to get a couple, which obviously could happen. Obviously, I'm not saying that couldn't happen.
Yeah.
But if Tampa scores, I win. If either team kicks field goals, I win. $250K, and then of course when it's always like that, it goes down to I won like $8K or so, just something crazy. It's brutal because you guys know you only get a few chances a year where you truly have the nuts. Like you truly got it. You just got to win those nights. You just have to.
And not just the nuts, but you truly have a chance to win like big money. Yeah. Like not just like, and I know it's like 20K, 50K, but like you don't have a ton of chances every year, even when you play every day, to win $150,000, $200,000, and that's the difference. It's like there's very few chances like that.
It's just one of those things too. And I know, I talked to JSU last night, and believe me, I'm not the type of person that's like, oh, I had it in the third goal.
I was trying to bring him down softly. He wouldn't go down softly. He was very adamant.
Like fading in Showdown, you're usually fading the world, but there was so many points. Like the lineup was the lineup. The two kickers were in the winner. Mike Evans was more than winner, and something insane happened. And then, like, it just, those three Falcons guys were obviously in the winner. They all had 30 points. So, like, there wasn't, like, sometimes in Showdown, everyone's got 14 points. And if one guy scores, it changes everything. That wasn't the case last night.
Like Hodge, when he scored, it didn't change shit.
He couldn't get in the winner. Like, he just couldn't score enough. And he almost, that was a 60-yard touchdown, and he couldn't get in the winner.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, he put up a decent score, and he still couldn't be in that winner. So, yeah, it's whatever, just, but I think we had a really good show. If you watched the show yesterday, if you caught the show, me and Big T did a 6:30, pretty much close to lock show. And we definitely talked up a bunch of Big T loved the passing game for Atlanta. He loved the receivers. I think you even said, like, I want at least two of these guys on most of my team. And then I talked about the kickers. We talked about the kickers. I said I at least want one kicker on every team, and I made that a rule. And the kickers were obviously both on the team. It's just the wrong captain for old Big T. But Baker Mayfield and no wide receiver was the interesting part, I think, of the Showdown.
It just shows you weird stuff can happen in Showdown, though. There was just so many points that it just weird stuff can happen where those receivers don't get it. And on top of it, we did give the winners on top of it. So I'm in me and ODB's buddy Josh, this other dude, we're in this high stakes season long league. And I got lucky to pick up Kirk Cousins this week. And I was so happy. I'm telling him, I'm like, Cousins is going to crush this year. but we got Mahomes too, and I didn't have the balls to play Cousins over Mahomes, and I had to watch too, and it was like, oh my God, it was painful, but whatever. Move on. It's a new day.
You're gonna watch Mahomes put up like 20 points and win like 17.
The thing is, it doesn't matter what he does because Cousins had 500 yards and 4 million touchdowns, so he's gonna trample me no matter what happens.
Also, the new part we added under the cores for the showdown. I think Tony hit first touchdown bet for Drake London.
I actually had money on that part. In the bet side of the site, I had both, but on the actual that part, I still had the Drake London touchdown or the Mooney touchdown.
And then I missed the Sterling Shepard first touchdown, but hit the anytime touchdown, which I had on the site, plus 550 on DraftKings for Sterling Shepard, who we talked up on the show, probably is a better bet. And it kind of went that way, Tony. So we gave winners for sure. I mean, we weren't all right. My guy, Chris Godwin, didn't get me the promised land, but we definitely gave some winners on that show. So I just wanted to talk it up a little bit. You had a close showing, but ODB to football this week. Yeah, you missed us. We know what happened. You were cowering after your Bengals got fucking stomped. That's what happened, ODB.
Because I stayed confident in my Bengals all week. That wasn't it. I like seeing your two mugs.
ODB, you're not going to talk to him about how he skipped on us after his Bengals got crushed? I mean, come on, get in on him a little bit.
I didn't look at
he's got I don't know. I think I probably had him. He probably didn't.
Did he pick Carolina? Is that what you're saying? Was he
on
the
think
Carolina side?
Yeah, I think he did, but that's okay.
I honestly can't remember because it wasn't one of the games I actually put money on.
Yeah, it wasn't a strong play for us. Last week was kind of up and down. I think I hit more games than I lost, but kind of up top missed a couple. But I don't even remember any. It's been so long ago. I don't remember any super strong takes that we had that came through or failed. I mean, the only one that I know I really missed on was the Cardinals versus the Redskins. But other than that, I think I pretty much hit everything. I think I had a pretty decent week overall. So the only games that I really lost last week were the Cardinals, and I missed the primetime games. I mean, I liked Miami, and I had Buffalo, even though I really didn't like it. I just kind of had them. But yeah, I think it was a pretty good week overall. I think we gave pretty good stuff on here. I don't necessarily remember any super great bits of anything, but I do remember it was JSU and I by ourselves having to fill up an hour and a half because Big T was in the flood. So glad to see he's back and his man cave is untouched, and we still got the Wallace jersey up. So
it was so bad last week. You guys are making jokes, but my power came on and went off 15 times that day. It would come on for a minute, go off. Come on. Go.
I will say there was some people in the chat who must have lived in the Cincinnati area because they were saying when we were shit talking you, they were saying, no, it's pretty bad here. It's actually pretty bad here. So what are you going to do?
When you got a lot of electronics and the power just keeps going off and on, it's just, I was worried stuff was going to break.
Well, luckily, it looks like you're intact. Your whole setup's intact, so that's a good sign for you. I can remember one thing. I remember my Raiders getting it done last week. My Raiders got it done, and my Pittsburgh Steelers got screwed last week, which we'll talk about when we get to the damn Steelers because they got absolutely screwed. Oh, they got screwed, my friend. Did you watch that game? They literally came back in the second half. TJ Watt got held almost every single passing play when Joe Flacco was
They were down 21 points.
That personal
they were getting
stroked. Did you see the personal foul flag that they threw at
them getting stroked?
I watched.
My God, I can't even.
I watched football. I didn't watch that nonsense. I did watch your Green Bay Packers get right up the can by my Sam Darnold and
both of his.
You didn't see George Pickens get hit right in the hands with the touchdown and just drop it. You didn't see that? No, that fucking play right
Pittsburgh didn't convert offensive chances.
Justin Fields got it done after that, but I had George Pickens, so I was.
Are you really complaining that the Steelers almost came back from 21?
No, they got hosed in that game. They literally got hosed. There was so many bad penalties.
Joe Flacco in the Colts. Not even Anthony Richardson.
You guys are making fun of Joe Flacco, who's literally better at throwing the football than Anthony Richardson. Joe Flacco had, I think, out of his 6 starts last year, he threw for an average of 317 yards in 6 fucking starts.
Who would you rather have with a 21-point lead? The guy who can't move, or the guy who
you just made fun of Joe Flacco as a quarterback, and I'm telling you, the dude threw for an average of 317 yards last year in 6 starts. What do you mean he can't sling the rock?
No, I mean he's also.
I would take Joe Flacco over Anthony Richardson right now.
Oh my!
Well, you're gonna get it this week, so good luck to you.
I know. I can't wait. I'm gonna play Joe Flacco too, just for you two fucking guys. He's gonna throw for 325 yards against this Jacksonville team. I can't wait.
I hope so.
I can't wait.
I hate Anthony Richardson, so it'd be good to get some controversy there.
Oh, fuck. The Steelers aren't even on the main slate. We can't even talk about them either. This is bullshit. They're the late game.
Who do they play this week? Like a college team?
The Cowboys.
Do they ever play anybody?
Yeah. Yes, a college team. The Cowboys without Parsons and Lawrence. Yeah.
Yes, at home too, ODB.
Literally.
They get them at home too is the best part. They get them at home woshout their 2 best.
We're starting the show talking about the Colts and the Steelers. Come on,
I'm telling you right now. I watched that whole game. They got fucking hosed. That's all I'm saying. Okay, TJ Watt gets held.
Okay, great. Congratulations. You watched the one game that wasn't even a game. You watched some college football game that was 21-0 in the
second half was a completely different story than the first half. Get out of here. Tony must have still been in the flood if he didn't watch that game.
That game was on a corner TV.
That was on one of the best quarterback plays in the whole slate. Timeout. Wasn't Justin Fields like on half the winners? Like, what are we talking about?
Because they were down 100. He had the perfect script.
They were down 21 to the Colts.
Good Lord, that's what you want your quarterback to be down 100.
So what do you mean? Why can't we talk about him? Justin Fields is literally on the winner.
We're talking about
now
bets
it's a bet show.
Yeah,
2 weeks ago, I was saying it's a bet show, and Tony's like, "Well, we could talk both DFS and betting a little bit."
Yeah, but you're victory lapping a guy who was 21 points down to the Colts.
Not victory lapping anything. I'm saying, why couldn't we talk about it?
And you lost. You lost. You're victory lapping a game you lost.
You're victory lapping a game you lost.
They got hosed. ODB. I'm gonna literally send you all the bad calls in that game. I'm literally gonna.
I didn't even bet that stupid game. I
had the Colts in that game. I had the winner. I'll take it.
Fuck you guys. I mean, Colts.
Go Flacco,
Steelers was the fish of all fish sides last week.
We'll start. Oh God. Okay. Baltimore and Cincinnati. You can tell when these guys don't watch a game that they say that type of shit. Baltimore versus Cincinnati.
There were 8 games on. There were 8 games on. Only 2 of them were 21-0. Your Packers and your Steelers. So why? I watched the games that matter.
The reverse of 21-0.
It was 28-0.
Please stop.
You watched that game.
Baltimore and Cincinnati.
Was the right side. Like you thought you had the right.
No, 100%. If you watched the second half of that game and you didn't turn it off,
what about
the first half?
Doesn't count.
That's fine. There's 2 halves to a football game. What do you mean?
Yes, you lost one. You won
They needed a penalty to keep a drive going that they shouldn't have got, and they ended up winning. Okay.
Wait. Stop. Before we continue, you're victory lapping the Raiders, who got the cheesiest call of all time to negate Amari Cooper touchdown to win the game.
That was a hold.
What is wrong with you, JSU?
Wait a second. Hold on.
So insane. That was a hold?
Yes.
I had the Raiders. That wasn't a hold.
I'm talking about a penalty, a PI penalty that wasn't even close to being a PI penalty, and you're talking about a clear hold. ODB, these are completely different things. Like, I don't even know what you're talking about. It's like complaining about taunting to a holding call. Like they shouldn't call taunting calls, and it should call holding calls because clear holding calls are clear fucking holding calls.
That was not a clear holding call. You're victory lapping one call, and you're trying to victory lap.
You don't even know what penalty I'm talking about, and you're arguing the other side. Stop it.
We're talking about Cleveland and the Raiders.
Yeah, well, Cleveland and the Raiders, all the money came in on Cleveland, so everyone just jumped to the other side. So that's why they got that call. But Baltimore and Cincinnati, we'll go here first. Talk about Tony's Bengals here. 2.5-point dogs in Cincinnati to the Ravens. 49's the total in this one, so you got a nice total here. Tony, I'll start with you. I mean, sounds like Vegas says points in this game. Baltimore looked good last time out. The Bengals defense hasn't looked good. They're down a bunch of guys on defense. Do you see points in this game, and who do you like?
Yeah, I definitely see points. Usually when these teams play, it feels like it's low scoring, but with the way it sets up this year, I see points for sure. And like the flow chart, I got the flow chart up on the site. It's pretty good flow chart spots. Clear running game from Baltimore, clear passing game from Cincinnati. I think they both line up really good too with the others' weaknesses. Baltimore struggled a little bit with the pass. Bengals have obviously struggled with the run. So you have clear-cut advantages both directions. And, yeah, I think we see points. So I'm definitely in on that. Obviously, Derrick Henry had the long run. Seems like a good matchup for him on paper. I think Justice Hill just looks explosive, though. I've said it kind of all year, but when he gets that ball and starts running, he looks like a different speed to me. He just looks good. So I honestly like Justice Hill a decent amount this week too. The passing game is the disaster for Baltimore. I mean, Zay Flowers looks rough. The tight ends look more than rough. So, yeah, I mean, for me, clear running game Baltimore. I mean, I love the Cincinnati passing game in this game. I think they're at full strength. Chase Brown looked good last week. Zach Moss looks decent. I mean, Cincinnati's just got weapons. I'm not worried. Again, I wasn't on the show. I wasn't hiding because they got owned. I was at that game versus Washington. I think that was the game before, and that Washington looks good. So I'm still confident in the Bengals. I really am. This week is a tough matchup. They don't match up great with Baltimore. I'm not like crazy. I don't have a crazy conviction in this game. I think it goes to the wire. I think it's a game similar to last night. I think it could go either way. I think it's a close game, and Baltimore runs good, Cincy passes good, and we get a lot of points.
Yeah, I like what I've seen from Justice Hill too. Tony, I think what you're seeing though is I think you watch Derrick Henry and then you flip it to Justice Hill and you're seeing like completely different speeds, right? It's just different styles, different speeds, different runners. And Justice Hill's like route running is pretty good for a running back. Like that move he made, I knew it right when that ball got hiked. I saw him doing this. I literally saw the move and I was like, oh, he's got him for a touchdown. Like that's an easy walking touchdown. Just Lamar put it right on him. So yeah, he's looked good. I like the running games here for Baltimore. ODB, what do you like?
Does anyone like before ODB goes, does anyone love just stupid trends more than Mitchell Snyder? Like he loves these dumbass trends more than anyone I've ever. Lamar is 24-5 as a 3-point favorite or less. I mean, come on, Snyder. Come on.
This is like Snyder, the sharp. This is like the fake sharp stuff.
Yeah, let's put on the stat. Let's put on the stats of Burrow as an underdog too, because those numbers, he's like 18-8 or something.
The thing about trends, you can always find a trend that backs up your side if you look hard enough.
Trends are the dumbest thing. Every show that I listen to that says trends, I just ignore. It doesn't matter. But that being said, these teams, the trends that I can get is that these two teams play each other a lot. And one thing I will say is the Ravens. I mean,
why didn't you lead with that, by the way? Sorry, ODB. But like Snyder, why didn't you lead with that? Like, there you go. He's 8-2 against Cincy. Like, if that's the actual record, you should have just led with that one instead of the 3-point favorite or whatever. That would have been just an easier way to go. But ODB back to you.
The Ravens have like destroyed the NFC teams. And I think a lot of that is because when you haven't seen Lamar before, he's just operates just a different style than you used to. Well, the Bengals have seen this guy 2 and 3 times a year for the last 5 years. It's not really a surprise. Hendrickson he looks like he's back in full strength with the Bengals. I'm glad to hear that you guys like points. My first lineup that I built last night, I just kind of like to put something down just because just to place hold in my league because I'm part of I do a league and just in case something gets away from me. But I built it with Burrow and Higgins, and I built one with Chase, one without Chase, and I built the comeback with Flowers. I know that you said you don't like Flowers, but I kind of feel like he might be the guy this week just because Henry, they're going to be keying on Henry. And when you load the box, that's where like Flowers can come in behind. I think he's kind of like a sneaky play this week after putting up his 2-point dud last week, but that was just completely script based. I think the Bengals are going to win this game. I have the Bengals to win the division, which I don't love with the new news that Devontae Adams may join this Ravens team. But if Devontae doesn't, I think the Bengals have a legitimate shot to still win this division, and they have to win this game. The defense has looked poor, but I don't know. The offense has looked really good. Joe Burrow looked really good. I mean, he's got T. Higgins back now, so he's been using T a lot. I think Burrow's operating at, if you want a long shot, something like Burrow MVP, he looks really good. Then I could definitely see a career year for him coming. And if the Bengals do come back and they end up winning the division, he's got to be a strong contender for that. I think the Bengals just generally, I don't know. I like the Bengals in the spot. This is a home team, home dog in a division where the dogs generally play out pretty well. And I like the Bengals here. I think the Bengals are a pretty good position in this game. Everybody's really high on the Ravens after last week. And I don't know. I don't think you're going to get the intimidation factor of the Ravens. That game script just went perfect for them. The Ravens are a very good team when they can play downhill. When they get the lead, they're really good because the run game, Lamar, the defense loves to play downhill, but they don't really come back all that great. I think the Bengals are going to get out, and I like the Bengals here.
Bengals they don't really come. A much better dog team too, like way better dog. I never liked them as much as a favorite. They're always and they're 4-3 the last 7 against Baltimore. Lamar didn't play a few of those, but they're 4-3 the last 7 against them.
Yeah, I'm sure he was talking about with Lamar.
Lamar, for sure. How many of those maybe Joe didn't play? My point of trends, like who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 100%. Different players, different coaches, different teams. Everything's different.
I will say one thing. So I can't remember if it was after the KC loss or the Raiders loss when either Harbaugh or the offensive coordinator was talking and they were I think it was Harbaugh, and he was talking about how he was like, we can't give Derrick Henry 25 touches every single game. It's just we're not going to do that. You know what I mean? Well, the last 2 games that they've won, Derrick Henry has had 25 and 24 attempts rushing. Shocker that when you give Derrick Henry, and this goes to ODB's point of they don't play well coming back, they play well ahead. Yeah, that makes sense because Derrick Henry is in the game plan when you're ahead. You can just pound the big dog right up the gut. Lamar can use his legs a little bit. You get that dual action, and then you catch him sleeping down the field a little bit, like the Justice Hill play and some Zay Flowers stuff. But like when Derrick Henry's in the game plan, when Derrick Henry's getting 25 touches, he can still make plays. I think that's the key for the Ravens. If they get up and it's Derrick Henry type game, they're going to win a lot of those games here. Less on, not that this isn't shitting on Lamar, but it's just to take off of Lamar's plate. They need Derrick Henry to run like this, to be that guy that gets 25 touches. If he does that in this game, I think Baltimore wins this game. I think that means they're up. And I think that means that he probably had a good day on the ground since he's down a few or questionable, I guess, a few linemen. Henderson might play, but you still got, I think, Rankins and Hill in the inside, the interior that are questionable. If they're out, man, Derrick Henry, when he gets into that second level, is just a different animal trying to tackle, even today. And I think it would be a little much for Bengals. So if those guys are out, I'm going to probably go with the Ravens here. And I'm probably going to like Derrick Henry a lot. Again, if they're in, then I might take back a little bit with my Derrick Henry exposure, but I got to wait and see on that. I like the over here too. I agree with Tony. if Cincy's trailing, I think they'll have success throwing the football on this Ravens team with their wide receivers. So let's move on. Another game to get to here. I think an interesting game, even though these teams coming into the season, I don't think anyone thought this would be an interesting game, but you got the Washington Redskins and the Cleveland Browns. It's a 3.5-point spread, 43.5 total. Jaden Daniels look amazing. I think the NFL is going to try and adopt him as the next guy, like the next Lamar Jackson-ish type guy that they just want to go glom over and just literally love and push out there to everyone. He's looked amazing. They're 3.5-point favorites at home. It's 43.5 total. Cleveland Browns have looked bad. Tony, is this a trap game? Because I've seen it in Discord just a little bit. Some people think this might be a trap game. Are the Washington Redskins for real, or do you think that Cleveland has a shot?
Yeah, so now we're past that preseason part of the year. We always say 2-3 weeks in. Now we're week 5. We still got a lot of data coming in, and we're going to get more and more knowledge. We always get better on this show as the year goes because we start to adjust quicker than other people, and I think that's one of our strengths as the season goes. For me, I just think Cleveland sucks. So it might be a trap. I think Washington is way better than people think, and I know they're starting to get more trendy, but I still don't think people realize how good Washington can be. They got a quarterback that is a game changer, and Cleveland, I just think Cleveland sucks. So I am going to be definitely on Washington here. As far as the fantasy side, I don't necessarily love it. But, man, when you go and look at the flow chart and stuff, even the Cleveland plays, like Amari Cooper is going to pop. I do like Amari Cooper in this spot, too, just as like a run back. I don't know how much like Jaden Daniels in this spot, though, even though I love him. I don't think this is like a crazy high-scoring game just because of how bad. I just don't think Cleveland's good. I don't like anything about them. So I definitely like Washington on the bets side. I don't know DFS, though. I'm not in love with this game DFS-wise.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I don't think Cleveland's going to be able to push Washington to where they're constantly pushing to score, I guess maybe touchdowns and stuff like that. And I think Washington's plan is going to be to, run the football too, which they've been doing a really good job of. Their offensive line has been one of the better offensive lines in football. I think that's one of the things that no one thought of coming in, and they've looked really, really good so far. So ODB, I like Washington. Tony likes Washington. Can we make it 3 for 3?
Yeah, I mean, Washington seems like the fish side, but I'm on the fish side here. I don't think this line is correct. I think this line should be 4.5. I think this is just the sharp, trying to be too sharp for your own good. I mean, it's like, well, we got to buy Washington off the peak, and we got to buy Cleveland at their lowest. And the reality is, Cleveland's just not that good. I mean, they lost to a Raiders team with no Devontae Adams, with no Max Crosby, and this Washington team, they didn't just win their last 2 games. They beat the hell out of the 2 teams that they played, the Bengals and the Cardinals. So it might be the fish side, but I think people are they just want to fit into the narrative, buy low, sell high, all that nonsense. But the reality is that I think this Washington team is just better, and I think this line's too low, so I'm going to play Washington.
Yeah, that makes sense. No, Reggie's not in the garbage can, Terry Niehaus. He is sleeping right back there. I don't know. You should probably be able to see him literally sleeping right on the couch right there, but he's good. Let's move on here to the next game. And this game, we got the Dolphins and the Patriots. It's a 1-point spread. It's pretty much a pick 'em. It's a 36 total. It's probably going to be a really ugly game. Miami hasn't looked good without Tua, and their players haven't played good, without Tua. And that's just, this offense, I said it before, this is one of the tougher offenses, I think, for a quarterback to jump in and just get on the same page quickly, even though they have good skill players. They have good receivers. They have good running backs. Very much timing. Those windows are super tight because these guys are so fast running through, and you just got to have that timing down. And Tyler Huntley just doesn't, you know what I mean? And he doesn't throw a good deep ball. I mean, literally, that deep ball he threw to Tyreek Hill might have been the ugliest deep ball I ever seen a quarterback in the NFL throw. Like it was honestly Tim Tebow-esque. Like it was that bad. It might have been worse than Tim Tebow, honestly. It just floated in that air. That's how bad of a throw it was. I mean, it was horrible. So I get why this is pretty much a pick 'em. I mean, the Patriots right now are a very slight dog, I guess. 1 point, dog here at home on DK Sportsbook right now. I'm taking the Patriots. Like, I don't like anything I saw from Miami. I'm going to take the Patriots here at home. I don't think the Patriots are anything special, but I just don't think that they're going to, like, Miami's going to give the Patriots any problems when Miami doesn't have anyone that can get their playmakers the ball in space. Like, they need to be able to get their playmakers the ball in space, and they just can't do it right now. New England probably just finds a way to grind this game out and win, probably like 17-7 game or something like that. So I got New England. ODB, I'll throw it to you first here on this game. It's kind of ugly, but who you got?
Yeah, I thought on Monday night that it was a really good spot for the Dolphins. I thought that, when you have the weapons that they do and the coach that they do versus a team that's as poor as the Titans are, that you'll find a way to get the ball in those guys' hands. And they could not get the ball in the hands of Achane, Hill, or Waddle. So I don't see how that changes this week. I think New England has a better defense than Tennessee. They're on the road. They looked very, very uninspired. And I didn't like anything that I saw. Maybe it's just a overreaction from one game, but I did not like what I saw out of this Dolphins. I didn't like the body language. I didn't like the heart. I didn't like the play. I didn't like the quarterbacking. I didn't like the play calling. There was nothing I liked. Then they just lost Jaden Phillips, their best defensive player. Meanwhile, the Patriots are not a good team, but they're young and they're trying and they're scrappy. And I think we might get May. Even if we don't get him to start, like, that gives us a backdoor chance. If they get down and Brissett doesn't look good, then they give May a shot. But if Brissett looks good, then we just win anyway. I feel like the Patriots are more ascending and the Dolphins are more descending at this point in the season. So I don't see why we just don't take the home team here, in a pick'em game. So I like the Patriots.
Yeah. All right, Tony, you want to make it 3 for 3 on the friggin' New England Patriots here?
So you guys talked a lot about the Miami side, which I totally agree with. I mean, they were so bad Monday night.
Seriously, how bad was that deep pass? You know which one I'm talking about, too. That thing floated in the air for like 10 seconds, I swear.
I mean, they were so bad. Tennessee didn't even play good, and they dominated them. It was so bad. But that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, New England has been terrible, too. I mean, they got beat 24-3 to the Jets 2 weeks ago, who just lost to Denver. I mean, this is the type of game I just look at myself and I'm like, why the hell am I betting this game? Like, it's the freaking Patriots and the Dolphins. But I'm with you. If I got to pick a side, which we do on this show because we pick the games, I got to go with you guys. I got to take New England. But am I going to be shocked if Miami just wins like a 17-13 game or something? No. And actually, the funny part is, so the flow chart, I'm going to put some like article about how to use some of the plays. So the number one, so I factored it based on projections and then flow chart and then looked at the differences. The biggest leverage spot at running back of the week is Ramondre. Flow chart versus projection. So he's only 6K. You're playing a Miami team that could quit for sure. We talk about this as the year goes on. Miami could quit. I think New England at least is young enough. Well, they're terrible. But like ODB said, they could play a little harder. I don't think they'll just quit, even though they suck. Miami could quit, though. And if Miami quits, I think Ramondre is a somewhat sneaky play, at least according to the flow chart.
The problem with Ramondre is that Mayo came out and said that Gibson's going to get more work, that Ramondre's fumbling issues could land him on the bench. I think this could seriously be just a spot that he tries to show Ramondre, hey, you're not always getting the spot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but the thing is, we just don't know. Yeah, we just don't know how much he's serious and how much he's not. So like I have in one of my high stakes leagues, I mean, I have a choice between like Gibson and Sermon this week. And it's like, I don't know. I have Gibson, Sermon, and Eckler. I have to play one of them because I have guys on buys. And it's just kind of like, I don't know. Do I really trust how much do I really trust Gibson? It's like
Gibson over Sermon blows. That the dude behind him probably ends up taking his job at some point during the. He's terrible.
I'm going to play Sermon over Gibson. So, but
I think Gibson. I think you might have sold me on how. I think Gibson. You guys are going to laugh at me for sure right now. And
I know what you think of him, so I
think he's looked good too. Like Singletary and Gibson are the two guys that I think were horrible all forever. They just look good to me this year. I know people are going to laugh at me. He's 5,100. If he truly, it makes sense to me what ODB said. This is the perfect game just to be like, okay, Ramondre, you fumbled the last 4 games. Literally all 4 games you fumbled. We're going to give Gibson a run here. And if Gibson, what if he gets like 20 carries in this game plus 5 targets?
He's going to crush.
5,100. He's going to, and the flow chart says it's a great spot. Like, I think you sold me on Antonio Gibson without even meaning to. I really like that. Because the other thing, too, even if Ramondre plays, Gibson still has outs. He catches the ball. He can run. I mean, he's still got outs. You're not dead.
Well, especially if May comes in because they're behind, like he's just going to be using Gibson as a safety valve, I would think. Like,
yeah.
But Miami can't really get a lot of pressure on him. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a lot of scripts where Gibson succeeds. That's the kind of why I wanted to bring up that I don't think Ramondre is really in play. I mean, maybe you could have him because he's going to not be owned at all. Everybody sees the same shit that I see. So it's not, I mean, if you want to play and that he just gets off, I mean, Tony Pollard and Tajay both went off. So if both of those guys can go off, then, I mean, you're looking at a similar game plan. So, yeah.
I will say all Tennessee could do was run the football. They couldn't do anything else. I mean, they tried all game.
Yeah, when Pollard and Spears are going off, you have a bad run defense.
Yeah, but the first half of that game, they really didn't do shit in the run game. And then Phillips went down. They started to lose momentum, and Tennessee finally had a few big drives where they got them on the ground. But I think it was due to just constantly being out there, Phillips then going down, and a lot of stuff happened. I will say Miami was decent slowing them down until the kind of midway through that third quarter. Tajay got it going, and then Tony did.
Nice, Kevin. This is what people are going to do every week. And I laughed Monday when they played too. It's like everyone wants to have these, just because they're low owned doesn't mean they're good plays. Like, he doesn't have a quarterback. You can't play these guys. I don't care what he's owned.
He's going to have opportunities that he normally doesn't have to get one-on-one and go deep and stuff like that. The problem is if you don't have anyone to put it on him, it doesn't matter if he's open. Yeah. He was open on that play that I was talking about that I'm laughing. He was open. It was he had the dude beat by 3 yards.
He'll quit too. He's not a fighter like that. He'll quit.
He didn't play at the end of that game. Don't you remember? He was sitting on the sideline at the end of that game. He'll quit.
He'll pull a hamstring or something, and he'll just quit. I can see it coming a mile. You guys are right. I need to get on New England. This team's gonna quit.
All right, there we go. We just sold everyone on New England. God help us.
And Antonio Gibson. We're off and running here.
Yeah, we're going crazy right now.
Sounds like a Print Factory show.
Yeah, let's go to another 1-point spread here. We got the Buffalo Bills, the Houston Texans, 1-point spread in Houston. 47's the total in this one. Like I said, pretty much close to a pick'em game here. Houston is slightly favored at home, which is interesting against the Bills, who just got, crushed by the Ravens. Houston coming off what I thought, and I think anyone watching that game, should have been a loss to the Jaguars. I mean, the Jaguars blew that game. Houston should have won that game easily, and they didn't. The Jaguars actually should have ended up winning that game and just lost it at the end. So, Diggs playing his old team. I think that'll definitely be a narrative here. Nico's been crushing with Houston this year. They might get Tank Dell back. Khalil Shakir's out for Buffalo. Ed Oliver's out for Buffalo. They're missing. Von Miller's suspended. There's a lot of stuff going on in Buffalo. This is an interesting game right here. And I don't know what's happening with Joe Mixon, but I would assume he might miss again. So
he's most likely out.
Yeah, he's most likely out. So a lot of guys out, a lot of like key kind of offensive and defensive guys out for their team too. I think Khalil Shakir being one of the more key guys in general for Buffalo, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. ODB, I want you to go first. Who do you like?
Well, I mean, I think Houston has been very disappointing this year. They're 3-1, and I don't think they have looked very good. They're the one team that I'm really, really high on. I've watched them very closely. I watch every game, but I watch their games even more close. That being said, I mean, this team is winning. They're producing fantasy points. They're scoring, and all of it with the most boneheaded plays. Somehow this offensive line is just getting worked. Larry Tunsil can't line up across on the line like he's supposed to. He gets called for all those stupid penalties, the stupid illegal formation penalties. I got to think eventually they just fix that shit. I don't really think that stuff should be transferable week to week. That had to be a big point of emphasis this week. They've shot themselves in the foot with a lot of dumb penalties. I think the Texans are a better team than the Bills. I'm not saying that they've played better so far, but overall, my pick to win the AFC is the Houston Texans. So I'm getting them at home in a coin flip game when Buffalo really doesn't have one of their best weapons. Now, Shakir's not a game changer. He's not a needle mover. He's not moving the line. But at some point, weapons have to matter. I mean, I'm not really sure. I mean, Josh Allen's the best quarterback in the league, but CJ Stroud's in the top 5. So it's not like we're going from Josh Allen to Trevor Lawrence or Snoop Huntley or Skylar Thompson or even Tua for that matter. I mean, we're going to CJ. The weapons, they're way better on Houston. They're at home. Not only that, Buffalo's played a very physical game on the road where they just got it rammed up their ass for 60 minutes, and now they got to go play this Houston team. I think this is a really good spot for Houston. So I like Houston. I like them quite a bit. And as far as the fantasy goes, I'm always fine to play Nico. I mean, he was my favorite wide receiver coming into the year. He's my favorite wide receiver now. And if you want to go Diggs revenge narrative, I don't really think it's being played up as much as it is. I think Diggs really just genuinely couldn't stand Josh Allen and the Bills organization at the end of this thing. So yeah, I could see that being a play if you want to make it, but however you spell it, it's all Texans for me.
Tony, I think it's interesting here that in Houston, Buffalo, with all the guys that it looks like they could have out, is still only a 1-point dog here against Houston, who hasn't looked that good this season. I know Buffalo's coming off that tough loss, but man, it's tough for me to not look at that Bills team just being like, man, I think this is interesting that the line isn't a little more than what it is when it's in Houston. But what do you think?
Yeah, I don't like disagreeing with ODB, but I definitely like Buffalo. Houston's looked bad to me. I do agree with that part. I mean, look at their scores. They got pounded by Minnesota. Jacksonville outplayed them the whole game, and Jacksonville looks awful. That Bears game was the worst game I've watched all year. Both sides were just horrendous. And then the Colts almost beat them opening. I just think they're bad. I don't know what's wrong. That's the thing, though. I do think they're talented, and I think it'll click at some point because CJ Stroud's really good. Nico's one of the best. I hate Diggs. I'm going to keep playing Nico over Diggs every week. The only
Nico's
good thing
just so much better.
He's just so much better. Nico's
yeah.
just so good, like so freaking good.
And I'll say that, and Diggs is going to get 2 touchdowns this week just because they're going to force him the ball. But whatever, like
he will. I mean, Diggs will outscore him a couple games this year. But I'm playing Nico every week. I love Nico. I'm with ODB there. I just think, and I do kind of agree. So this is where my head always starts working, though. So like you look at the rosters. I think Houston has a better roster. I would like Houston coming into the year more than Buffalo. Now you get Tupac Shakur out, our boy. Now that you look at their weapons, I mean, you're looking at Curtis Samuel, Keon Coleman, Mac Hollins. You're looking at these guys, and you're like, how can they beat Houston? But then you start just thinking more, and Josh Allen knows how to get on the move. Josh Allen's like Trevor Lawrence on steroids, who just almost beat him. The running team is what gave Buffalo problems last week. They just got it ran. Houston can't run the ball. I like Buffalo. I can't explain why, though. This is one of those games that I don't really understand why, but it's the number on the road. I'm on Buffalo. As far as fantasy, though, I mean, I feel like we have to like a Curtis Samuel or Keon Coleman just because they don't. I mean, they have to throw it somewhere. And I don't like these guys. I feel like Curtis Samuel kind of fits that Tupac role better than these other guys where he can work the middle. The problem is, man, he sucks. He's so bad. But I do like just filling in. I like Buffalo. You can polish it up. I like.
So Buffalo. let me take this over because you were kind of getting into where I was going to lead anyways. But you brought it up. Buffalo is going to struggle with teams who pound that rock. And I talked about it in week 1 when they played Arizona. Why did Arizona get up? Because they were pounding James Conner against Buffalo early. They were pounding him, and then they went away from him. I don't know why, but they went away from pounding the rock with James Conner. They end up losing that game. The Ravens gave him issues running the football. Well, not having Joe Mixon in this game is absolutely huge because look at the games that they've either lost or been close. Like that Bears game, it shouldn't have been a close game. It was a close game. It should not have been a close game. But they couldn't run the football when Joe Mixon, when they can't run the football, Houston, they've had problems this year, big problems. Now, the Bills do have a bunch of guys that are out. Like I said, they've got, the safety Raps out. He got concussed by, I think, Derrick Henry or something happened when Derrick Henry ran him over. So he's definitely probably out. But they've got other guys that, Ed Oliver I talked about. The linebacker, Bernard, I think is questionable. He might play. Von Miller. So there are, big news on the defensive front, but I still think one of the things with Houston is their defense. And this was another thing I talked about when I talked to my boy, Brian Thomas from last week. Their defense is giving up big plays. Teams are not connecting on these big plays though. Brian Thomas and Christian Kirk should have had much bigger games than what they even had and what you saw if you watched that game. Trevor Lawrence missed both those guys on big plays multiple times for absolute either touchdowns or big plays down the field. And not only that, Caleb Williams in the Bears game, I can't tell you how many times he had DJ Moore open and just missed him wide open. Rome Odunze was running wide open, but his offensive line couldn't block for him enough to even look in their directions half the time. And the other times it was a terrible throw. So in the one game that, actually got thrown on was the Colts. And we saw that game. Alec Pierce caught bombs, Ashton Doolin caught bombs, and AD Mitchell was open for 2 bombs and they missed them. This Texans team, for whatever reason, they give up big plays. They're it just happens. Teams have just not been connecting. The question is, can Josh Allen, without Khalil Shakir, connect on some of these big plays? And I did it out. Shakir's the leader on this team in routes run. 80% of those are in the slot. Targets, he's got the most. Receptions, he's got the most. Receiving yards, he's got the most. Touchdowns, he's got the most. I did this all out on my Twitter. You can go find it. I wrote it all out. Curtis Samuel is 8th on the team in routes, but 65% of those routes come in the slot. that to me means that Shakir is directly affecting the amount of snaps that Curtis Samuel will have. I feel like Tony's right. Samuel kind of goes into that role. Can Curtis Samuel make some plays? He's 4,200 on DraftKings, Tony, too. So he doesn't have to do a ton.
And he's going to be totally unowned, which makes
he won't be owned. Exactly. So I think people might try Keon Coleman maybe a little bit, even though I don't think he'll be that high owned either. The Bills double might be unowned. Like if you play a Bills double stack, that's crazy. And you could run it back with Diggs or Nico, like easily.
Nico's just the nut run back. Just God, yeah. Nico's so good. That's the one thing we all agree on.
God, I might sell myself on a Bills double, which is disgusting. But
the thing is, at these prices, you have a astronomical amount of upside. I mean, you got both receivers for 8,900. Dalton Kincaid hasn't been that involved, and it's not that great of a matchup for the tight end. I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
But Kincaid does line up inside like 50% of the time for his routes too. So that's another good thing. And that's where you want to beat Houston. Christian Kirk had a big game last week. 75% of his routes came from the slot. 9 of his 12 targets came in the slot. Like that's Stephon Diggs had a big game in the slot against the same team. 65% of his routes came in the slot. So like teams have been attacking Houston. Or I'm sorry, not the Houston, but teams have been attacking Houston inside the numbers. So that's where I would attack.
That's one issue with the flow chart too that I always talk about, especially early in the season. So my flow chart shows like Houston being good against tight end, but once you actually look, like they played Chicago, who couldn't move the ball, Jacksonville, who had a backup in there, couldn't really. So once you actually look at who they played, the flow chart can't fully account for all that stuff until later in the year. So
there was
it could be a better matchup than you think.
Just to clarify with the flow chart, Tony, for everyone who doesn't know, that's just strictly numbers, right?
It's and I go in and like manually look at it too, but it's numbers. Yeah. Like even if I know, like say they shut the team down and I know that it's still shitty guys, they still get a grade of shutting them down, even though the guy wasn't there. So
right. Okay.
It is just numbers. There's not like I don't downgrade it just because Ingram was out and friggin'
that's my question.
There's no downgrade for that.
There's no downgrade for that. Okay.
Besides maybe like a few spots or something, but it won't change the overall outcome.
Well, because I think some people when they see it on Twitter might get confused, or even on our site.
Later in the year, it'll be a lot more accurate with each week.
Yeah. Okay. Let's keep it moving though. We spent that's a good game though to talk about. I feel like that's a pretty good game. Let's go to another interesting game. We got the Panthers been on a roll with Andy Dalton. At least offensively looked really good. They've been running the football well. Chuba Hubbard's looked good against the Chicago Bears at home. Bears coming off of a win. They're 4-point favorites here against the Carolina Panthers. It's a 41 total. And finally, after the coach told us that they were going to give Roschon Johnson a look, what did they do? They pounded DeAndre Swift. I mean, they gave that man touches and targets, and he just absolutely crushed, was unowned. We did get lucky and get the 1-yard plunge from Roschon, but that was pretty annoying that they just decided to go right back to DeAndre Swift here. And he gets the nut matchup. Like Carolina has got to be one of the best matchups for running backs. I don't know what the flow chart says, Tony, but I'm assuming that Carolina 2 running backs equals the nut. Am I wrong?
So 3 of the 4 weeks they've given up top 6 performances. So yeah, I mean let me look at there. Yeah, I mean it's definitely a good spot for running back, and it's an interesting spread in this game just because you still like think of the Bears as a pretty good team, even though we probably shouldn't. They've looked bad too. But Carolina's look good. I mean, the spread just throws me off in this game a little bit, being this low. I felt like it should be like 6 or something. It's a weird spot. So I hope you guys can give me some conviction in this spot because I'm a little torn. DFS-wise, it's easy. I mean, you're not really going to go crazy in this game. A super low total. You can play like Swift if you want, but you know he's going to let us down after last week. I know on paper it seems like a good spot, and he's going to get ownership though too. So these are always the spots where Swift lets us down. Trust me. We've loved Swift his whole career. He went off. Now he gets a good matchup. not everyone, he'll be in the 20% own wise, and then he's going to suck. I can see it. Roshan, this will be Roshan's week. It's how it goes with this team. Deontay's the one that looks really good to me. I always liked him in Pittsburgh. He just never had a quarterback that could throw at all. And you get him Andy Dalton, who's not a world beater, but he gets the ball out and he gets him in spots that he can make plays. Leggett looked good last week, but his price is even up. You can't play him at 5,100. I like Deontay, and I mean Chuba looks good too to me. I think you could play Chuba. I like the Carolina side more than the Chicago side for as alarming as that sounds.
I'm with you on Swift. I know it's a trap, and I know I just don't want to fall into it. So ODB, what about you?
One thing too about the running back, and I'm going to write like something up for the Run Pure members on the thing about the flow. But the top couple plays at running back this week are such good plays, and that's not including Swift. There's 3 or 4 running backs that are just as good a spots as you can have. Like I'm talking Smash City at the top of that flow chart when the members can see it right now. Those top 3 guys are Smash City. So you don't need Swift. Just don't need it.
I just got to do this before I go to ODB. Shout out to Joey Thorpe on Twitter, who gave us a live look screenshot of the great Joe Flacco debate on the Print Factory. And it's me smiling, Tony with his hands covering his face, and then ODB just looking like dead in the camera with like dead face. And it's just priceless right there. That is amazing right there, Joey.
Can't wait to see it.
Joey Thorpe. ODB, what do you think here in this game?
All right. Well, let's talk through it. Last week, the Bears played the Rams in Chicago. They laid 3. The Rams, we think, are okay, mediocre team. They have a good quarterback. Now Carolina's getting 4. So you're basically telling me that market thinks that Carolina is equal to the Rams.
I think Carolina's better than the Rams.
I don't necessarily see it that way. I think that Carolina had a really good landing spot the first week with the Raiders. It was a really good spot for Andy Dalton to come in, do some things, use the veteran leadership, team rallies around him. Next week, home opener, revenge game, bad defense, chance to go out there and fling it around. Now you got to go to Chicago. This defense is really, really good for Chicago. The offense for the Panthers, I think, will get stymied. I don't like anybody on the Panthers side. I do like Swift a little bit, but I don't really want to play him just because of the fact that, it's kind of what Swift does. But I think this could be a DJ Moore revenge game too. I mean, also DJ Moore looks really unhappy on the sidelines. I mean, he's very frustrated with his role in this offense and him not getting the ball. And I could see them really going out of their way to get DJ Moore the ball this week versus Carolina. I like the Bears. I wanted to like Carolina, especially because, as anybody who follows me knows, I'm kind of deep in this Circa Survivor. So I'm kind of rooting for all the teams that are going to be played, all the favorites to kind of lose. I kind of wanted to root against the Bears. I kind of wanted to fade the Bears this week. But the more I just look at this game, the more I just think the Chicago Bears defense is really, really good. And I don't think that Carolina's offense can do enough. And I do think that the Carolina defense is very susceptible, and Caleb's looking better each week. And kind of like you have with all these teams. I mean, it's time to get off some of these receivers. It's time to get DJ Moore off. It's time to get Keenan Allen some balls. I mean, Rome, I don't know. I think a sneaky stack is Caleb. I mean, there is going to be a week where he goes off and a couple of these receivers do some things. And what better spot than the Carolina Panthers? I mean, Gardner Minshew, they moved the ball fine against the Panthers. Every team has scored a lot against this Panthers. Joe Burrow was MVP last week versus the Panthers. Now, obviously, Burrow and Williams aren't the same guys, but this team is very susceptible. So I really like the Bears. I didn't want to, and the more I thought about it and the more I keep thinking about it, the more I just like the Bears.
What part of Caleb last week did you like? He was horrible.
I mean, I don't know. He led I don't know. I thought he led the team.
He had 150 yards and 11 fantasy points.
And all he did was throw to Swift short, and then Swift had that big run.
Well, I mean, he's managing the game better. I don't know. He didn't turn the ball over.
I mean, you said it, though. I think the Bears, when the Bears win games, I think it's just going to be because their defense just, is really tough and kind of slows down the other side's offense and stuff. The one thing I think Chuba Hubbard's looked really good, and the offensive lines look good for Carolina. And I think you got to be able to run the football against the Bears. And I think Carolina is going to have some success running the football against the Bears. So I kind of lean the Carolina side here. I'll take the 4 with Carolina. I think, the Bears are just not that they're not I don't know if they're a bad team, Tony. I just don't think their full team is ready yet. I think they have a really good defense, and their quarterback is still trying to figure out all of these pieces, the offensive line. Swift's trying to figure everything out. I know he had one good game.
Figure out how to paint his nails.
That I don't think he's trying to figure out. I think he figured that one out. He's got to figure out the rest, though, the football. And the DJ Moore thing, I just don't think DJ Moore's his guy. I think Rome's his guy. That's one of the reasons I think DJ Moore's pissed. Last year, Justin Fields, DJ Moore was his dude. That was it. It was the DJ Moore show when they were throwing the football. This year, it's not that. And I think he's a little mad.
Let's put us down. ODB flying solo with the Texans and the Bears, and let's
ODB
readdress
flying
this next
solo
week.
with the Texans and the Bears. All right, we got you. You are down. Let's keep moving though. Indianapolis Colts versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. There's a 46 total in this game, by the way. It's a 3-point spread. The Colts are dogs to Jacksonville. I know it's in Jacksonville, but my God, I mean, we're talking Joe Flacco. 45-year-old Joe Flacco versus Trevor fucking Lawrence in 2024. And you're telling me Trevor Lawrence is a 3-point favorite at home? Get the fuck out of here. Tony, tell me why I'm wrong.
I mean, I was making fun of how much you love Flacco. Jacksonville.
I thought you didn't like the Colts this week. I thought you liked Jacksonville. No, that's why I did that.
I think, I am. Jacksonville is one team I'm done with. I think they're bad. They have not shown me anything. They can't stop the pass.
Let them know, Brad.
This is where I circle back, though, because I think this is a perfect matchup for Flacco.
You're going to play Flacco?
I didn't say that because I think that DFS has just shifted too much to these runners. You need a lot to happen for these passers to get there over the runners. I'm not saying it can't happen. It happened last night with Kirk Cousins. And I'm not saying I'm not going to play any Flacco. Who knows by the time Sunday gets here? Maybe I will, because it is a great matchup. I do worry about the guys that just can't run at all, though. I don't love his weapons either. But a guy like Pittman is just going to be a guy when Flacco's in there. His price is not going to account for the volume he can get when Richardson's in there. So when Richardson's in there, he's just an auto fade. When Flacco's in there, he's going to be almost like an auto play to me. I think his projection is not going to be close to what it should be, especially in this matchup. By far the best spot you can have right now in the flow chart. By far the best spot is Jacksonville against the pass. Although Tampa, after last night, man, next week, Tampa might be up there too, guard the pass, because they could stop anything. But Jacksonville, which no JT doesn't mean anything to me, but it's just a great matchup. Pittman, we got down the field with Josh Downs, 5,100. Alec Pierce has shown us some upside. Even AD, you probably can't play AD Mitchell with everyone in. But I like Flacco a ton. And I also like Jacksonville a little bit in the passing game. I mean, Brian Thomas looks awesome. Christian Kirk's always in play. I think we could get Evan Ingram back. I don't know what we've been on here, so I didn't see all the news.
I haven't seen him in or out, but he might play.
I heard that he was trending towards maybe playing. If he's in, that obviously helps too. I like Indy in this spot, though. I'm done with Jacksonville. I'm selling completely Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence, I'm totally done with him. Yeah, I'm on the Colts. I'm on Flacco, and I think Pittman's one of the best plays of the week, if not the best price considered play.
Yeah, I'm seeing Evan Ingram is hamstring game time decision. That's what I'm seeing.
I think he might play. I have a feeling he might go this week, but if not this week, next week.
I'm with you, though. I like the pieces for Jackson, like offensively. I'm not going to play Trevor, but I like the pieces from both sides. Brian Thomas is a beast, and what you said about Michael Pittman is fact. When Joe Flacco is under center, Michael Pittman is a much better fantasy option than when Anthony Richardson is under center. When Anthony Richardson's under center, you can't really play Michael Pittman. Like, you just, like, that's a fact. Like, he's just not as good. So definitely a better fit. Someone said it's going to rain in Jacksonville, but I don't know. If it's like really, really bad weather, then maybe just play some of the playmakers, but I don't know. It's Jacksonville.
It's like with anything with the totals, though. Don't worry about the rain unless that look at the total right now. So the total right now
46. It's 46.
46 and a half of fans. So if you get to Sunday and it's like 44, 43 and a half, then worry about it. But if it's still 46, just whatever. Like I would never worry about that unless the number moves.
I agree. And you said JT doesn't matter. I think it matters a little bit more just because Jacksonville is so tough against the run anyways, and they're an extreme pass funnel. And no matter what you say, going from JT to Trey Sermon, that's just a huge downgrade. I don't care what anyone says. Like, when you have that type of running back and you go from him to someone like Trey Sermon, I think it's a big downgrade. Looking from Joe Mixon to Cam Akers and what Houston's been doing since then. So I think there was a little downgrade with those top tier running backs going to someone that bad. But ODB, what do you like here in this game?
I'm just glad we get Trey Sermon. That was one of my things that I did in best ball before anybody was drafting Trey Sermon. I was drafting Trey Sermon. So I've got him on a lot of teams when he's not owned at all. I saw this path for JT to get hurt. So that being said, I really just don't like this game in general because I want to like Jacksonville. I think you guys are just completely dismissing the fact that the Colts really suck and that Joe Flacco is not very good. And you still have Trey Sermon as running back. I mean, we get him, but he's not very good. I
agree with you.
I mean, the Colts suck and they're on the road. And the only reason that is stopping me from taking Jacksonville is if the team quit on Peterson. And I'm a big quit narrative guy. I am very much, I love to jump on teams that I think quit because I think that it's real. I think it's real. People want to dismiss that stuff, but it happens. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they're ready to quit or not. I mean, I was really telling in the press conference when, Peterson just comes out and says, well, the players got to make plays. I mean, that was tough. And I heard, I hear that they're quitting on him, but you never know how real that is. If they weren't quitting on him, I would love Jacksonville. So I'm just scared. I think whatever way this game goes, I think is just the way that it goes. I think, and that sounds stupid, but what I mean is I think if Jacksonville gets off and they have a little confidence, I think they just bury him. Joe Flacco's not the savior. He played well with Cleveland last year, but he's still a year older. He still didn't get offered a starting job. He still didn't even get to come in and compete anywhere for a starting job. So there's a reason for that. I mean, these guys aren't stupid. There's a lot of teams rolling out. I mean, fucking Jacoby Brissett is a starting quarterback in the NFL. So there's a lot of opportunities for him. If he was still good, then he would have been somewhere competing for a starting job. But if the Colts get down, I could see Jacksonville. I mean, if the Colts get up, I could see them quitting on the team. I want to like the Jags. because of that, and I want to like the Colts because I do kind of believe they might quit. So I'm just kind of off this game entirely.
Yeah, I'm going to say this right. I think Joe Flacco has at least 2 passes that go 50 yards downfield. He can still sling it. He's going to sling it here just to own ODB.
I'm not saying he's not going to complete passes. I'm just saying.
I'm saying he's going to sling it, not that he's going to complete passes. I'm saying he's going for 300 passing yards here because they just don't have.
He also could throw 3 interceptions.
Hey, listen, 325 yards, 3 TDs, three interceptions. However, I got to get it done.
From a fantasy play is fine. I'm talking from a bet perspective that the range of outcomes is very wide, and if you have a strong opinion on this game, you're just leaning into the one narrative that you want to think, which is fine. That's what we're all doing, like in general. But I think to not see either side of it is kind of. I don't know. It's just not where I am on this game. There are a lot of other games that
I agree with ODB too. So this is what I kind of said about you guys in the other 2 games, or the one game I was talking about, where you guys are both like the one team sucks. I'm like, yeah, but the other team sucks. That's kind of where I agree with ODB here. Like, I like the Colts because Jacksonville sucks, but also, if I'm being fair, the Colts suck too. So it's not like I agree with them. I still like the Colts because I think Jacksonville is quitting and I don't like them, but I don't disagree.
But one team's favored and one team isn't, and they both suck. So I'll take the team that's not favored.
With these numbers, though, like, you're picking the team to win when it's 3. I mean, you're picking them to win.
I'll take the plus money.
I'm not changing my
pick. With JSU. Not with JSU. No. He might pick Jacksonville to win and Colts to cover.
That's
what are my odds? What are my odds if I do that?
It's got to be a 5-point spread.
14-1. 14-1 right there. Bang. If you want to do that.
Plus 3 and money line the other way.
Pull the old JSU. You go plus 3 and the money line the other way. 29-28, baby. We're live, right? Let's get it. All right, let's keep going here to the 4:00 game. San Francisco and Arizona. San Francisco at home, 7-point spread. 50 is the total in this game after Arizona just let up almost 50 to the Washington Redskins here. We get San Francisco at home. I think San Francisco's getting somewhat healthy. I don't know about George Kittle, though. I know he was questionable. I don't know. He is practicing Friday. Okay, so he's probably going to play. All right, so Arizona coming off a really bad loss where not just the defense, which we kind of knew, but the offense was more the shocking part, I think, to most people, where the offense couldn't really generate much after that first quarter. Like, the first quarter came, they had that drive, they scored, and then they just kind of like slowed right down. And I think Washington, it wasn't just the defense of Washington, it was the fact that, like, it just felt like Arizona's defense was constantly on the field and Washington's offense was just moving that ball slowly moving that ball and keeping their defense kind of fresh. And later in the game, I think it showed a little bit more. And they just got crushed. So what are we doing here? Are we following last week, ODB, and saying San Francisco pounds Arizona? Is this a new week and a different game?
I'm going to bet on the bounce back for the Cardinals. I still like this Cardinals team. The defense was terrible. I was more disappointed in the offense, to be honest with you. I thought there was a chance that Washington could do some stuff on offense, but I really didn't see the fight with the Cardinals offense. I really thought we would see more. But that being said, this is a division game. I still have faith in this team. I still like this offense. This is a good bounce back spot. Teams that get blown out that I like, it's kind of the old trend thing that doesn't really matter and mean shit, but teams that get blown out the week before versus teams that blow out teams, they have some great record. I don't care about that stuff, but just figured I'd put that nonsense in. I think they can hang with them. And I wouldn't be surprised if they upset them, to be honest. Another one where it's a division game. So the strength and the physicality of the Niners, similar to how the Ravens play when they get to play against a team that that has seen all this before, I think it's advantageous. From a fantasy perspective, I'm not really sure what the I'm not on the trends, Mitch. I just threw that out for you, honestly. I don't know who Tony meant by running back smash spots, but I've got to assume Jordan Mason's one of them.
He's top of the list.
Yeah, I assume that he's just in a smash spot here. Also, I could see after Ayuk was chalk for a couple of weeks and hasn't performed. I mean, at some point he's going to blow up. So he's kind of a low price and versus a team that is definitely susceptible to the blow up game. So I could definitely see if you wanted to build a San Francisco stack. But I mean, I'm here to talk about the bets, and I think more often than not, Arizona keeps it close. So I'm on Arizona.
Yeah, tough division game, Tony. Bounce back for Arizona. Do they bounce back here against your 49ers?
I mean, they disappointed me last week. I was so high on them, and I liked Washington too. I was just so high on Arizona to play good in that game, and they just let me down big time. And to take the cop out on this game, this is just a perfect teaser game for me. San Fran 7.5 or 7 at DraftKings right now, but 7.5 everywhere else. 7 DK. Tease it down to 1. Arizona's not going to win this game outright. Although the way this year's gone, nothing would surprise me. But yeah. I like San Fran. I mean, it is just the most clear-cut Jordan Mason spot I have seen in a while. I know he's going to be high-owned, but these are the spots. And someone in the chat earlier, I don't remember who, was like, the top 3 are the great plays, but they're all going to be high-owned. I'm just the type of person where I can play all 3 of those guys and just play like we talked about. Josh Allen with the 2 low-owned Bills or stuff like that. I mean, that's honestly like a good build. I wonder if it would fit. I'm going to put it just because this is what we do on this show. So, like, if you play Josh Allen, let's just look right now. Josh Allen, Mason, Henry. Let's see if it'll even work. Derrick Henry, Kenny Walker. Who do we say? Was it Keon Coleman? Keon Coleman and
Curtis.
Who?
Curtis Samuel.
Yeah, Samuel.
The third.
So you got the double stack. Well, I want to try. There he is. I was spelling it wrong. Yeah, so you got the double stack with those 3 running backs. You still got 3,800 for a defense, wide receiver, tight end. Is it even possible? Could you play Nico? Yeah, you can't play Nico with it, but
get Keon Coleman out of there. And put
yeah,
Nico
we can get Keon out of there. I agree with that. But point being, you can still play a low-owned stack with those 3 running backs. I'm not saying for sure I'm going to play those 3, but man, are they in good spot. The 2 in the late games, which we're going to get to the other one. I mean,
I'm fading Henry.
Who?
I
might not play Henry either, but
play Henry when he's low-owned and don't play him when he's high-owned. Like that's just been the thing for years.
Yeah, but Kenny Walker, who we're going to get to next, I'm freaking playing Kenny Walker. So Jordan Mason and Kenny Walker, I mean, I'll be stunned if I don't have them in my core on Sunday. They're both just absolute smash plays.
You know what I kind of like we passed him over, but Jerome Ford has a nice matchup and he's real cheap. I mean, Washington gives up points.
Made me take my hat off. He always made me take the hat off with the Jerome Ford.
You don't like Jerome Ford this week at 5,300?
Get the hat off.
Oh, I'll tell you the other guy I like. The other guy I like that we haven't. Well, we'll talk to him. We'll talk about him. But Josh Jacobs.
He's up top. He's in the 4
He's up top.
Chart. I can be talked into him. I can't be.
I play Jacobs over Henry.
I do love how though Tony the teaser just cops out from picking a side and just says, "I'm going to tease this game down to 1." It's an easy Tony the teaser over here.
Is that not allowed?
We picked
I'm just gonna say
the Print
this.
Factory show. We picked.
If you tease all the 7-point favorites down to just win, you're fucking buried this year.
They're 7.5, this year, but they're 7.5.
And you're gonna I think the opposite. Either Arizona's gonna win this game. Right?
Oh my god!
They might just win this game outright. They might just win this game outright.
San Fran doesn't lose when they're at full strength.
Yeah, San Fran's going to run all over them. I think they cover. I'll just take the favorite here.
If you think Arizona wins, you could fade Jordan Mason.
Yeah. If you think they win, I would even say you could play Purdy in that situation. You could literally stack Purdy.
Jordan Mason might put.
He's gonna crush.
He might get 40 fantasy points.
I like Mason.
Think about this though. Jordan Mason, he's so good. His fantasy, he doesn't really catch that many passes, and he's still putting up 20, 25, 27. He has the one bad game in there, but he doesn't really catch passes, and he's doing that. He's good, man. He's good.
I don't see how you could fade him in this spot. I mean, outside of just being different, you can always be different, obviously.
What I like about this slate, though, is we've got a good amount of games that have decent totals. So you got a good amount of spots that you can, stack and think about stacking. Yeah. It's not one of those slates where I feel like there's just two spots that everyone's gonna fucking do. I think there's a few different ones. So, all right, let's go from that game to the complete opposite. You got the Raiders, you got the Broncos. It's a 3-point spread. Denver's at home. Denver's defense has looked really, really good the last couple weeks. The Raiders, we'll see if Max Crosby plays. I think he tried to practice today, which is big for the Raiders because they definitely need someone like Max Crosby. But no Devontae Adams. He is out due to quitting. He quit on his team last week. He pulled the hammy, and then right when that hamstring starts to feel good, he'll pull the other one. Trust me, all right? He'll just keep pulling his hammies until he gets what he wants.
Why don't they just trade him? Just trade him and be done with it.
I mean, they're going to trade him. It's just they're trying to get as much value as possible, and I think the problem is teams know that they're going to trade him. So, if you're a team, why are you giving even close to what they're asking? I get it.
Because there's 15 teams that want him. That's how.
I don't understand.
It doesn't matter if they want to trade
come
him.
in and say, "Here's a first rounder."
Then why isn't the trade already done? There's 15 teams that want him.
Because the Raiders
they're all undershooting what the Raiders are asking for.
No, they're just all holding out. They're playing each other against each other. Baltimore, the Jets just upped their offer. Would you like to do more? Yes,
exactly.
We would.
You don't think the Raiders? You don't think the Raiders are going to try and get as much as they possibly can?
That's why it hasn't happened
yet. Doesn't matter. Where do you guys think he goes and for what?
I mean, I thought it was.
He's going to the Jets. He's going
to. My two picks were the Jets or the Saints, but with him, did you see what he tweeted today, Tony?
No. What?
He tweeted a picture of Edgar Allan Poe.
What does that mean?
The Raven. The Raven is is his popular poem, and that's what he's known for.
I think he's trying to fuck with people. I think all these guys like to fuck with people. Did you guys see Deshaun Jackson's video? Did you guys see Deshaun Jackson's video where he came out after and was like, all you fucking Raiders fans were talking shit to me for telling you that Devontae wasn't happy before the season started, and now you fucking seeing he's like, I want an apology. He was going in on the Raiders people that were probably hammering him for saying
that's Lamar Jackson or Deshaun Jackson.
Deshaun before the season. Deshaun before the season went on and said how Devontae Adams was unhappy and he could tell. I don't know if he said he talked to him or if he just could tell that he was unhappy and he was going to get traded or wanted out. And he was right. He was 100% right. And
let me just tell you, if the Jets don't get him, then just fire everyone in the organization and just reboot because you're not serious. You're not a serious organization and you're not trying. If you go into the season with Aaron Rodgers and you have the chance to get one of the top 5 receivers in the NFL that loves Aaron Rodgers, that knows everything that he does, and you do not do everything you can do to get him and try to win a Super Bowl, you are not a serious organization, and just fire them all. So, I mean, that's it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they want. The Jets fans would forfeit 20 years for a Super Bowl.
I could see the Jets end up giving a second and a third just to say, screw it. Give them to me. Second and a third, maybe one player. But just at the end of the day, just saying.
I heard some rumors from people in the know that it was supposed to be Hassan Reddick in a second and somebody else or something. I don't understand why the Raiders would take Hassan Reddick, but I don't know. It's an asset, I guess.
The only way they're taking him is if they're going to pay him, because that dude's probably not going to play unless he gets paid. So
he's definitely
they would have
not
to.
Pay if he doesn't look good.
So that's what I'm saying, though. So the Raiders would have to be like, okay, we're going to pay this dude on top of taking him in. We're going to have to pay him some, which they could do because they would get rid of Devon. Like they have money, they can pay him. So it's not a big deal. It's just, do they want to? But I don't know. I mean, Tony, where do you think he's going? ODB seems to think it was the Jets. Now maybe the Ravens. I think it's still going to be the Jets. Where do you see him going?
Yeah, I mean, there's not that many options because it still comes down to he's not going to just go. So you can say highest bidder and stuff, but some team, if they know he's not going to be happy, they're not going to come into the whole thing. So
that's why 15 teams wanting him means shit, because there's only like
right,
four probably real teams.
Oh, you don't think he'd go to the Saints? He'd go to the Cowboys. He'd go to the Bills.
I don't think he'd go to the Cowboys. I don't think he'd go to the Cowboys. I think he'd go to the Saints. I guess the Ravens. I don't even think he would really want to go to the Ravens.
He's just got to go to the Jets. I mean, I'm with ODB. Like, just call him and say, what do you want? Like, what do we need to do here? You want him out. We want him. We'll overpay a little bit. Like, what's the best? Let's just get this done. Like, he needs to go to the Jets. It's a perfect spot for him. I picked the Jets.
Devontae doesn't want to go to the Ravens. I'm telling you right now. He might go, like, just because they're good, but he wants the ball, man. Like, I don't care what anyone says, and I don't care what he says. Like, even when they asked him, would you play with Lamar Jackson? He's like, yeah, just make sure, I might get less yards, but, like, make sure I get 10 tutties. Like, you ain't getting 10 tutties if you play with Lamar Jackson. You're not. Derrick Henry's going to get 10 tutties. Lamar probably gets 10 tutties. You're the third person to get 10 tutties. Like, literally, you are not getting 10 tutties with Lamar. Like, he wants the ball. Instead, most people would say, yeah, because I want to win a championship. I'll go to the Ravens. They're loaded. They got Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson. The defense is solid. Like, yeah, I'll go to the Ravens. No, he was like, yeah, just make sure I get 10 tutties. Like, I was like, yeah, this dude ain't going to play with Lamar.
Selfishly, I want him to go to the Chiefs. I wish the Chiefs would just call and say, give him a number one.
Selfishly, I want him to go play with Washington or Pittsburgh. Selfishly, that's what I want.
ODB, I got so much cheese on the Chiefs this year. All these stacks and stuff. I need a receiver.
Yeah, well, the stacks don't matter if you don't have that. You don't have them with Devontae, so who cares?
Yes,
I have Mahomes and a lot of high stakes stuff. I don't want Mahomes just to be totally dead.
Gotcha.
And Devontae's one of his highest owned.
Yeah,
Devontae's like one of his highest owned receivers.
Oh,
so
really?
you probably do have a ton of.
You kind of do.
But overall, it would be good for me. Put it that way.
Gotcha.
If he went to the Steelers or the Redskins, it would be great for me.
Steelers.
Oh God, please go play with Justin Fields. I got so much Fields.
Why would he go to the Steelers?
Next game, we can't get back to the Steelers.
Why would he go to the Ravens? Like, God.
Oh my God, get us to the next game.
Football.
Are we talking about this Broncos Raiders game?
We're talking about the Raiders game. Tony wants to skip it. ODB, talk about this game. Tony wants to fucking skip it.
Let me just tell you, my Broncos over 5.5. Yum.
It looks
we
good.
Got 2 wins not supposed to have already. Love it. They're getting 3 this week. The Broncos are a good football team. The Raiders, the Chiefs aren't getting Adams. The Raiders are the most petty organization in the world. They're not trading them to the fucking Chiefs. It's just a stupid conversation.
You don't think if they called and said, like, we'll give you a first and third, they'd say yes?
I think if the Chiefs called the Raiders, they would hang up the phone. They're not talking to the Chiefs.
I'm with ODB here. I don't think they would talk with them.
It's a petty organization. This isn't a real team. This isn't a real organization. If you see Mark Davis's haircut, they're not a real organization.
All right. Back to this game here.
Bo Nix is getting the job done. I know he had bad stats last game, but who cares about stats? We're picking winners, and he won. He went into New York.
Bo Nix.
And Caleb Williams. Getting it done right now. Bo Nix and Caleb Williams.
Yeah, I mean, you guys want to pick stats. I want to pick winners. I mean,
put it on a T-shirt.
That's a good one. I like that. Yeah, Raheem Morris would buy that shirt. I'll tell you that right now.
I like myself. I love that.
I like this Denver defense. I mean, we're looking at Look, I like all the pieces that the Raiders have for the value that they have them. I have a ton of shares of Trey Turner. I got Brock Bowers. I've got some Alexander Madison. I got a little bit of everything right now. Zamir White's out for this game, by the way, if you didn't know that. But I have a lot of Raiders pieces. But when your best players are Trey Turner and Alexander Madison and Gardner Minshew's your quarterback, I mean, obviously Bowers is the best piece, but he's a tight end in today's NFL. I don't know if we're going to have Max Crosby. I think the Broncos can move the football, and I don't really think the Raiders are going to score versus this blitz-heavy team. I mean, Patrick Surtain is a lockdown corner, but I don't even know who he's going to lock down. Jacoby Myers? I mean, it doesn't even matter. I like these pieces that the Raiders have just in general, but not necessarily in this game and not versus defense. I like the Broncos. I'm considering even playing Broncos in some Survivor. I like the Broncos with the spread. I think the Broncos are in a really good spot here.
By the way,
and I love Trey Tucker, by the way. Whoever put Trey Tucker's been great. I love Trey Tucker. He's my most owned wide receiver by a large margin in best ball. I got like 45%. So I'm all on board on Trey Tucker season.
By the way, I haven't even said this yet, but obviously hit the like button. Free show, RPS 15% off your first monthly or weekly payment. Get in, check it out, Discord. Get in and see the content. Hang out in the Discord with us. It's awesome. 15% off your first monthly or weekly payment. RPS 15 is that code. I just had to get away from talking about this bad game for a second. Tony, you want to give us your take on Broncos Raiders?
I mean, I definitely like Denver, and I agree with ODB that was crazy impressive 2 wins at Tampa and at the Jets. I mean, that is 2 really good wins. I don't think it had anything to do with the quarterback play, but I like the defense a lot.
Against the Bucs it did.
Yeah,
he played good.
I'm not saying he was bad. Again, we're talking more winners. I agree with the T-shirt quote too.
I'm saying he was bad. He was bad. He's been bad.
Talk stats. I pick winners. That's a good quote. I do want to put that on a T-shirt. But the Broncos have been impressive, and I just don't like the Raiders. I have to take Denver here. I just have to. Is this a teaser game too? I could take the Raiders. What's the spread? Is it 2.5? 3.
It's 2.5 for 3. It's shaded.
Not quite comfortable with calling it a teaser game. So I'm just on Denver. Fantasy wise though, I mean, I'm not going to. If I was playing anyone, it would actually be Brock Bowers in this game. I like Brock Bowers.
Yeah, I'll just say this. If you don't think that Antonio Pierce, when they get down the goal line, isn't trying to get his receivers touchdowns, you're insane, because he got Trey Tucker design play to get a touchdown, and DJ Turner, like that dude is going to keep trying to get his receivers when they get down, because they can't run the football. They're going to try and get those receivers just to spite Devontae Adams, by the way. So whenever you see like big numbers, like Trey Tucker right now is plus 350 to score a touchdown. I know there's not going to be that many points probably in this game, but plus 350 for the guy who's probably their number one right now, that's a nice little anytime touchdown bet at plus 350 for a dude who, he's got speed. And
they're going to score one touchdown. They're going to score one touchdown. It's
plus 350, and he's their best player right now. I love
Trey Tucker. I'm just saying they're going to score one touchdown. So
okay,
I wouldn't play too many. I wouldn't play too many of those receivers.
Well, I'm not saying to play too many. I'm saying Trey Tucker anytime touchdown at plus 350. He's coming off back-to-back weeks of touchdowns. I'm saying that's a nice little prop. It
might be 20-6. They might not score a touchdown.
Yeah, fuck it. I'm taking the Raiders. Go fucking Raiders. Let's go, baby. I need a win here. We need to beat this damn Broncos team. In all reality, I do worry about this game because the defense actually looks really good, but it's only a 3-point spread. So I don't know. Maybe they're not giving the Broncos enough respect after those two wins that were pretty good wins, honestly, even though I thought Bo Nix was terrible. The team played good enough to win. So yeah, it's an interesting game. Let's keep going. Bad for fantasy. Where are we at here? 2 more games left. Giants and Seahawks. I know Tony wanted to talk about this game and one of the players in it. 7-point spread. Seahawks are favored. It's 42.5 total. some of the big news, the Giants without Malik Neighbors, and I think Singletary was listed as doubtful, so he's probably not going to play. Hopefully it's Tracy season. We get some Tyrone Tracy for best ball. But Tony, you like a player in this game? Do you like a side in this game, though?
Yeah, I have to like Seattle. I think Seattle's the only survivor threat for me this week, too. I just think they're without Neighbors, without Single, I can't see the Giants winning on the road. And I actually think Seattle, even though they lost Sunday night or Monday night, whatever Sunday night it was, they impressed me. I think Seattle is way better than people think. They have good receivers. Kenny Walker's good. The defense was missing guys, but they're okay. Geno looks like he can sling it to me when you give him time. I'm super high on Seattle and Kenny Walker, though. So if I like Jordan Mason, I like Kenny Walker even more this week. He just got off against Detroit, who is the biggest shutdown run defense we've seen the last couple years. Granted, it was a little fluky here and there, like he'd catch a ball and stuff, but he still got there in a super tough matchup. Now he gets the Giants at home in a smash spot. I mean, I am playing Kenny Walker for sure. I don't love a ton in this game, but I think it's Seattle's defense, Kenny Walker, and Seattle to get this job done here.
I would agree with you. So ODB, we're on Seattle, the defense, the running back. I'm going to throw in DK Metcalf because that dude is a beast. And I think he might be probably the receiver that defensive backs are just the most scared against because he gets held literally every time he runs routes. Defensive backs are literally all over him, holding him. He's so fucking big and strong. And he's had 3 really good games this year. I know we like the running backs, but that offense throws the ball. They throw the rock down the field, and DK Metcalf, he needs one to go like house call. So I wouldn't forget about DK, just throwing that one out there. But ODB, what do you like here?
I have no idea how it's going to happen. I have no idea. But the Giants are going to keep this close. They're going to cover. This has been a nonstop conversation with my partner and I, who have multiple survivor picks left, and we have Seattle. I don't know why. I just know that the Giants are going to keep it close. I'm going to give you one of the theories that I have. Teams after playing the Lions, let's look at what they've done this year. The Rams played the Lions. The very next week, they got absolutely destroyed by the Arizona Cardinals. The Bucs played the Lions. The very next week, they got absolutely destroyed by the Denver Broncos. The Cardinals played the Lions. They got absolutely destroyed by the Washington Commanders. Who did the Seahawks play last week? They played the Detroit Lions. And it was on a short week. And they have San Francisco next week on a short week. Their division rival. Somehow they're going to look past this game, and it's going to be a game. I'm probably going to have Seattle in Survivor, and I don't really like it. But I'm just saying it right now. I think that Seattle might overlook this team, and I think there may be some rallying of the troops, and I like the Giants plus the points in this game. And my sneaky DFS play that nobody's going to play that I think is great is Darius Slayton, because there is no Malik Neighbors in this game, and everybody's going to want to play Wan'Dale Robinson after his 47 target, 29 reception for 16-yard performance. And Darius Slayton is going to
AU David B, baby. Show that AU with pride.
Yeah, Darius Slayton, War Eagle, Auburn Tiger.
So I don't know how it happened, but we just turned from the fuck the trend show to the we love the trend show with all this trend shit that ODB's given us right now.
I'm just saying, I found that early and I played. I don't know why. I just think Detroit Lions are so freaking physical. I just think they just beat teams up. They have the best offensive line. They have the best defensive line. And I just think they just tire teams out. And that was a tiring game on Monday. I mean, that was a tough game. I mean, there was, you could hear the hitting.
I will say though, Seattle was down a good amount of defensive players for that game. Like it looks like they could get some of these guys back, which is big. They were missing a good amount of defensive starters and some backups.
I know what I said makes no sense, and everything should lead you just to Seahawks off of a depleted.
I just don't know how the Giants move the football consistently.
I don't either. That's why it's Darius Slayton.
Yeah, I just don't know how they do it. I mean, their whole offense to this point has been Neighbors and Singletary. Like literally their whole offense. Yeah, a little Wandell here and there, but
Daniel Jones has shown that he can get the ball to Slayton. I mean, they've played together for years, and Slayton has had some games. So I don't know.
I feel like Darius Slayton is like 500 years. Has he been in the league for like 20 years? He's one of those guys that I don't know how old he is, and it's gonna shock me when you tell me he's like 31, and I think he's like fucking 40 or something like that.
Right, just call it crazy ODB intuition. I don't know.
All right. Well, crazy ODB Giants.
He's 27 years old, by the way.
Shut the fuck up. He's 27 years old.
He hasn't even felt that old to me. I had to look it up.
I feel like he's been on this team for like 10 years. Maybe I'm just crazy. Whatever.
Just that he's so bad that he just feels like he's been there that long.
No, he's not good. I'm
just 2-1.
He said he's not good.
You just blew this dude as your sneaky guy, and then you just said he's not good. Let me tell you right now,
he has 3 games a year.
As someone who will tout some bad players throughout the years, you don't say they suck after you tout them.
Look,
all right, that keeps people off of them.
Let's just be honest. He's had 3 games a year every single year. He hasn't had one yet.
Right there, ODB plus 850. Slayton plus the G-Man.
Yeah. Oh, plus the G-Man, yeah.
Why can't it just be Slayton TD? The guy hasn't been in the box. I
was gonna say if Slayton TD was plus 850, I would go bet it. See, because I like those fun bets.
Slayton hasn't been in any box in a while.
All right, let's go. Last game on the slate here: Packers and Rams. 3 points, another 3-point spread here. A lot of 3-point spreads on the slate. 48.5 total. I think from a DFS perspective, throw out the betting for a second. From a DFS perspective, this game will be by far the highest owned game, player to player. There's going to be a ton of players that are going to get ownership in this game. It's going to be the most popular game on the DFS slate. You're going to see some of the highest owned players on the entire DFS slate from this game. So it's an interesting game from that. We got the Packers coming off of a really bad first half where they got owned by Minnesota. And then in the second half, they started to kind of figure it out a little bit, move the ball, got back in the game, and Minnesota almost let them back in and won the game. That's how crazy it was. But it was one-sided for the first half.
Are you sure they shouldn't have won?
They could have.
Holding call or something? I mean,
no, they could have won, though. I definitely because football's played 2 halves of football. It'd be so.
No, I just know how you do this.
You don't win. You don't win the game in the first half and go home because you're up 28-3, i.e. the Patriots and the Falcons in the Super Bowl. You actually have to play the second half and win the second half too before you get to go home and say.
Okay, so the Packers lost that one too. All right,
Packers did lose that one. Yeah.
God, if I have to listen to this argument another time, oh my God.
What argument? I mean, ODB's wrong. It's 2 halves of football. You don't win after the first half and go home. I don't know what he's talking about.
I want another 10 minutes of Pittsburgh talk. Can we talk about Pittsburgh again? At least
I am going to tell you, I have my favorite play of the year so far.
Of the year?
Okay, well, let me get to the injuries, and then I'll get to you first.
I'm just going to say, for all the people who have tuned in this long, our longest show of the year, I'm going to give it at the end of the show, my favorite play of the year. So thank you all for keeping tuned.
I thought you were going to say
it. No,
I thought you were going to say
it. It's not when we get to the end.
Oh, okay. All right. Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, both doubtful for this game here for the Packers, which I think is interesting because, from a DFS perspective, you're going to get some value that opens up. But from a betting perspective, Packers are still 3-point favorites in LA. ODB, can LA keep it close? I know a lot of people in our Discord like the Rams. I saw a bunch of people saying the Rams plus 3.5. It's down to 3 on DraftKings right now. A lot of people high on the Rams just from what I've seen on in Discord and people talking and stuff like that. Do you like the Rams?
I don't really like this game, honestly. A lot of sharps like the Rams, and it's kind of, I don't know. It's kind of surprising. I don't really see what there is to like about the Rams. I mean, Big T even just said a little while ago, he thought Carolina was better than the Rams. So I don't know. There's not a whole lot that I like for the Rams, but it is scary, laying points on the road with, I bet, is it really on the road? I mean, it's going to be 70% Packer fans. So I don't know. I lean Packers, but there's a lot of smart people that are on the Rams. So kind of keeping me off of them a little bit. If you're playing DFS in tournaments, just don't play Dontavian Wicks. I mean, you can't play $5,000 receivers that are going to be fucking 40% owned. I don't know. Big T just gave a look. It's probably his favorite play.
He's literally like my favorite play of the week.
Yeah. I mean, everybody. The thing is, it's everybody's play. He's going to be 40% owned. I hate 40% owned receivers.
On Saber,
Jaden's gonna cut into his ownership.
Jaden's going to be higher owned than Wicks for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
This was my take to start the year. I thought Wicks was the best receiver on the team. I only took Wicks and Reed in best ball. I didn't take any Dubes or Watson. So it's a good run out for me.
But yeah, I don't really like this game. I could see anything happening. I don't really like either of these teams, to be honest, just in general. I do love Josh Jacobs this week. So I guess if I love Josh Jacobs, if I love the running back, I'm supposed to like the Packers, right? So I guess I lean Packers. But.
Well, if you love the running back, though, it's kind of like good on your take of maybe you're lower on the receivers, I guess, right? In general,
I'm not lower because I think they'll fail. I'm only lower just because I don't like playing chalk cheap receivers. I mean, it's just the chalk cheap receivers that's just a recipe for disaster in tournaments, I think.
God, I think Dontavian Wicks is going to smash. But Tony, you talk about him a little bit because I guess you're on the same page.
I mean, this is my favorite game of the week. I love Green Bay. I think Green Bay is so much better than the Rams. I think the Rams suck. I think it's a perfect matchup, too, to really get after them. It's a gift. 3's a gift. The Rams are terrible. They're gonna start to really get abused, too. They fought pretty hard for the injuries they've had. I mean, Mitch, you want to slide in? You say 3.5. I love when people do this. This will be my tangent. Mitch, I already ripped on Mitch once. He comes in 3.5, 3.5. It's 3 everywhere. It's 3 across the board. 3 across. Right now, there's no 3.5s. So don't come in the chat saying 3.5 when it's 3 across the board. Yeah,
Tony, you got to mellow down here. Jonna Parker does not like arguments.
That's
really
why I'm getting even more into it because I want
really against it. This show is made on arguments, by the way. This show was made on arguments.
3 though, it's 3 everywhere. Any amount you want on that team.
It was 3.5 yesterday. I think it was
Snyder
3.5
always does
yesterday.
this though. No, this is what Snyder does, and I'll be arguing. He always has the better line. Like, oh, it's 3.5 yesterday. Like it's 3 right now. Come get some, Snyder. 3 right now. Come get some. How much you want?
Wow, we got feisty tea.
I love feisty tea. That's my favorite. You might piss some people off, but feisty tea's the best.
What was the name? Jana Parker?
No, I pissed Jana off. You're still an expert. Even though you argued, you're an expert. Yes. I pissed her off, though. So
yes.
You can argue. You and ODB can argue. I can't. So you gotta figure that one out there. But yeah, either way, I like Josh Jacobs though. I like the ODB's take on Josh Jacobs. He's definitely a good play. You can run on the Rams. That's 1,000%. He's probably one of the better.
DeAndre Swift went off for 30 points on the Rams, and we all know DeAndre is dusty.
The other guy who's going to
play, man, Josh Jacobs is a good leverage play this week off all this chalk.
And I think you can play Josh Jacobs and you can play one of the receivers. So you're leveraged off of the other, because like Wicks will get some ownership. Reed will get a lot of ownership. So whoever you like the most, you play that guy plus Josh Jacobs, and boom.
Yeah. Can you come to the MMA show?
That's my guy Dan. We do an MMA show tomorrow. I think it's at 11 Eastern. If you want to see me disagree with more people, you can come watch the MMA show, and you can be on Dan's side right there. Because
people want us just to agree. Why do they want us to agree? They shouldn't want us to agree.
No, you can disagree. I can't disagree. That's just that's our rule. But
you're on your Packers, right, JSU? I mean, they're your butt buddies.
No way, he's not liking the Packers.
Kidding me? If I don't like the Packers in this spot, then just take my card. Like, take my Packers card. I'm no longer allowed to talk up the Packers. Yeah. But Jordan Whittington was the other guy. I talked about how he was going to emerge in this offense 2 weeks ago, and he played the most amount of snaps. I did this out on my Twitter too. Most amount of snaps, routes run, all that stuff. He was number one in all the categories, was clearly their best guy. And I think the reason behind it isn't just because of the receiving aspect of it. He's their best blocker. Like, he's by far their best run blocker at receiver that they have right now. They're literally making this dude literally get in the hole with linebackers and take on linebackers to spring Kyren Williams on some of these big plays. And you saw it 2 weeks ago against San Francisco. He had 3 separate blocks that sprung Kyren for huge plays that led to touchdowns, or on those specific plays got him the touchdown. And it was from Jordan Whittington making the key block. And so he's going to be playing the whole game going forward with no Cooper Kupp and no Puka. When those guys come back, things might change, but he's going to be very highly owned. So I don't know if anyone's got a take on him before we get out of here, because
I like Tutu Atwell more than him. I like how Tutu's looked, and it's just the ownership too. Like, I think Whittington's going to end up – I think Whittington will be just as high owned as the Wicks. I think Whittington's going to be – just because his projection's higher than Tutu. He's cheaper than Tutu. I like one of them for sure. Like,
yes.
I like Tutu, though. I like what Al Tutu's look, but I like both. I got Tutu, though.
I agree with you. I think you pick one. It's the same thing. Like, I think you just go with whoever you like the most. ODB, did you have a lean there?
No.
No. All right. There we go.
I mean,
all right. Those are all. Yeah. Okay. You don't like them as much. That's fine. Those are all 10 games.
I mean, they're fine. They're fine. They're fine. They're fine, guys. I just whatever.
You don't have to like them. I was just asking you. I was just getting your take one way or the other.
No, I do like you. You were a week early on your Whittington love, and he came through nicely last week. And yeah, it's a great game environment for him and for them and for everything. Also, if you want to leverage off of, I mean, there's great leverage on both sides on the running backs. I mean, nobody's going to play Kyren, and that guy fucking scores like crazy. He might be the best running back in the league right now, or in the top 3 or 4. So yeah, if you want to leverage in tournaments, another thing you can do. I mean, look, I don't play these tournaments. I'm not nearly as versed. Probably most of you guys listening are better at it than me, but I do listen to a lot of stuff and strategy things. Go ahead and set yourself up. Some chalkish lineups. And if the bottom part crushes, then you leave it. And if it doesn't, get off of Walker and get onto Kyren Williams, get off of Wicks and get onto somebody else. I mean, it's a perfect slate to get off. The leverage spots are there. I mean, there's the Kyren leverage, there's the Jacobs leverage. You can play the Seattle receivers over the Kenneth Walker leverage. I mean, you've got the Jordan Mason, you can go to Ayuk. I mean, all the games, all the chalk is on the afternoon game. So the leverage spots are there. So pick a few spots that you really like in the early games, lock them in, and then just transfer off based on it, but just have a clear place, because you don't have that much time like in between the games. But you just know, I'm going to take these 3 players out and I'm going to go this way if it fails. I'm going to go this way if my early part succeeds.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. Did you have a play you wanted to give out too before we got out of here? You said you had a favorite play. I want to make sure you gave it out.
All right. So my favorite play so far of the year is the New Orleans Saints plus the points versus the Kansas City Chiefs. The we're usually the Chiefs hater shows. I've bet the Chiefs the last 2 weeks, and by the skin of my teeth have won both of them. I got the Chiefs at a good number last week at 6.5, but I just love this spot for the Saints. The Chiefs do not have the offensive firepower to be laying 5.5 points to a good, competent team. And I think this is a lower scoring game. And I mean, look, let's be honest. The Saints have better weapons than the Kansas City Chiefs right now. Yes, the quarterback is not as good, but Mahomes does not look good. Mahomes has thrown so many dumb interceptions. He's got guys who can't catch the ball. I mean, he's going to be throwing to Mekhi Hardman and Juju Smith-Schuster. And they're going to be trying to tackle Kamara, Olave, Shaheed. I'm going to wait because I don't really think the number 5 is that crucial. I don't really need to get it right now at 5.5. I'm hoping that somehow it gets up to 6, although I don't necessarily think it will. But I love the Saints in this game. I think the Saints can win the game outright, but I definitely think that it's going to be a one-score game. So in a one-score game, a lot more permutations lead towards the Saints covering here. So I really do like the Saints, and it's a Monday night game, and I just wanted to give to the loyal people who've stuck around with us arguing for 2 hours something that I really do love, because there's been a lot of, not sure. So I like the Saints a lot this week.
Bang. All right. ODB's top play so far this season, the Saints, plus 5.5. I think right now it is. It could get up to 6. We'll see. That's Monday night, like you said. So we'll have more for the Monday night game as we go. We got to get out of here. RPS 15. Listen, guys, if you like talking sports, you like arguing with me in Discord, you'll love the Discord, okay? Because I'll argue with you all fucking day, all night. Tony will get in there and yell at Mitch Snyder and
Look,
you know, a few other people.
Did it again while you're talking, Mitch.
He said he grabbed the 6 on Wednesday.
Is he trolling me? He's got to be trolling me.
No, I think he's dead.
I mean, serious. He paid for it, minus 124. So yeah, good. I'm glad you're on. I'm glad you're on the team, Mitch.
It's just the point of the matter that it always comes in with the better number.
It's so good too.
I mean, he bought it. I mean,
he's sending me proof.
That thing's going to get down to 5, and Mitch is going to slide into your DMs Monday afternoon and be like, so I got the Saints, right? Plus 6, right? It's going to be down to 5.
You know,
Mitch, you do you, buddy. You win the games.
Yeah, Mitch is a winner right there, just like ODB. He doesn't play for fantasy. He plays for
last week because
I don't play for stats. I don't pick stats. I pick winners.
I love that.
That's it. There we go. We're going to leave on that note here. For ODB, for Big T and myself, good luck. Hit the like button on your way out. RPS 15, 15% off. Let's run pure. We're out. Peace.